Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus, right back. I just got through posting a video of Love, Life of Victory Eternal. And while I was uploading that, I was sitting here watching television, and I was given, I think that 60 Minutes, I believe that's the name of the show. They were talking about sicknesses and diseases that people have to go through, Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like this. And there was something new that's coming on the scene called FTD. I don't know the technical term for it, but it just was amazing. Here's this lady, she has been a preacher for 30 some years, and all of a sudden she says that one day she was washing her hand and she looked up in the mirror and she wondered who was that in the mirror. She couldn't identify or recognize her own self. She said sometimes she's looking for words, and words that used to just flow like these words flowing out of my mouth right now. But she couldn't remember what the word was. She couldn't even think of it. And when if the word would come to her mind, she said she'd act like it was at bingo. Oh yeah. And the example she used was like apple. Say she's using a sentence where apple is the word that she wants to say, but she couldn't think of it for anything. And then if it comes across her mind, oh yeah, apple, when it normally would have gone just free flowing. And I understand that. There are sometimes I'm speaking to you and there are words that I already know and I want to use them and they just go. Sometimes I want to talk about privilege, the people who are privileged in the society. And I can be speaking about that and then I want to use that word privilege and I can't find it for nothing. Sometimes I want to think about evangelicals. Well, I kind of use that so much now it's kind of imprinted on my mind. It's hard for me to forget. And another word, fundamentalist. You say, wait a minute, or adversary. These are words that I use all the time in what I'm trying to advocate and what I'm saying and the messages that I'm trying to bring to the people. And sometimes those words just run away just as far as they can go. And I choose another word or try to give an expression to say what that word means that I can't think of. So what my purpose for saying this, ladies and gentlemen, is just God is so fantastic. We were made in such a way that depending upon our exposure, there are certain results of it. We have certain backlogs that come from that, backfires and things that just tear us down and make us not as efficient as we once were. And the good God Almighty knew that these things would happen and prepared for it. Sent in people with great ingenuity, have some brains that's ready to comprehend these things and do research so that when these things occur, they can be dealt with. But some of the people, some of the messengers that have been sent in to be able to help us in trying times like this have been murdered in abortions. Some of them have been denied the opportunity to receive the kind of education that would allow them to do the great things that God has given for them to do. And all kinds of things. Then when you find out, you identify these things that are needed, you can't do the research because of money. You're asking people, donate to this cause, donate to that cause. The great God Almighty made sure that when these things occur, that people with that ability to be able to master these things and service the people would have no hang-ups whatsoever. And man has stood up there and decided that he was going to do his thing. When I say man, I'm talking about someone and people who have been persuaded to follow another course of action so that they can call themselves important, so they can say that they are superior to others, that they can be the privileged, being a true adversary of life itself. I mean, and it doesn't matter whether you are evangelical out there talking about God or got a fundamental perception about what it's all about. It doesn't work. It's tearing life down. And the people that benefit they used to say bonds, you go and take your food and put it in a bond. Now they got accounts you can't even measure it. And then they put it overseas so that they don't have to pay taxes on it. This is a mean, low-down, dirty world. And everybody who gets a touch of God's love and understanding should stand up on their feet and say, we're going to change this world, and we don't give a heck what Satan says. We don't give a heck what anybody says. We're going to make things right, that those services that individuals need to promote life itself, nothing on the face of the earth will deter it unless God decides to stop sending wisdom down. And if God stops sending wisdom down and the wisdom that's here gets corrupted, and then that's just it. But then all people will benefit. All people will suffer. So what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, is that we just got to stop being foolish. Is money so important? Now look here. We know you've been taught that you got to have money to do this, you got to have money to do that, you got to have money to do this, you got to have money to do that. But God has sent me to tell you that all of these things that you thought you needed money to do, you can get it, access it, use it without a penny. But it's a process of how you're doing it. You start recognizing, first of all, that God is God. And that you are a creation of God. And you respect that. And by respecting that, you have to respect others who, just like you, creations of God. And you have to protect them as you would want them to protect you. That is God protecting you through people. Everybody protecting one another. And anything that will come in there and try to take that away is like a virus on your computer. I also heard that people are going, there was a guy called Ted Kaczynski. They call him the Unabomber. Say he was going around putting bombs in people's mailbox, trying to get their attention, that they could get the message that he was trying to share with them. And that message basically was, forget technology, it will be the end of you. Say, rather than have all those computers and stuff, you might as well live back on the farms or live back out in the open space where you got none of that city life stuff. That you're just out there growing and living free, not having to worry about the things that technology will bring. Now you're talking about people's computers being attacked, and that major institutions are being attacked. Cities, states are being attacked and held hostage, where you have to pay X number of dollars to get freedom from these. Now that's another word I wanted to use. I can't find it right now. When I get through speaking, it'll come to me. But these are the kinds of things that we are dealing with. And they say these people are just doing it so it's a way of robbing you. And then we allow these systems to continue. For what reason? Because for some strange idea, we still profit from it. Not everybody. Those who do profit from it. I mean, so they want to keep on profiting. If you got an investment, if you got some stock or something in it, and you get some residuals from it, you close your mouth up, because on this next term, I can't think of what I'm trying to say right now. Because not that these words are eluding me, it's just that I'm not in that field. But you know what I'm talking about. As long as you're going to get these residuals, as long as you're going to get kickbacks, as long as you're going to get some money out of the deal, you just be quiet because you want the money. And most instances, whatever you're getting money from is from a process that's taking money from somebody else. You talk about the president and his people who love him so much, talking about how good the economy is. When people got more people working than before, while they're working on jobs that don't offer insurance, and the wages, they say, well, you're getting increases in the wages, you got more money back, and everything is going up. The gas price is going up, the food price is going up, the doctor's price is going up. So when you think somebody tells you gain something from supporting this campaign or this president, you look at the reality of it, and you have lost tremendously. Why? Because your mind has been corrupted. You don't know how to love. That's what I was talking about earlier on my post. You don't know how to love. You're hateful. You're just thinking about yourself. You want to make sure that if you lose your mind, that you got... This lady with her husband, FTD. This guy, they had him on 60 Minutes, and you couldn't believe, you just watched him, you couldn't believe what was going on. And this lady said this was costing her, now she got 4 kids, apparently in one while she wasn't working. She was 7 months pregnant. This guy started making passes at some ladies. He didn't mean it. He just doing stuff and got fired off the job. Now he is required $7,000 a month for his care. Now can you imagine $7,000 a month for your care? And that isn't even insurance. And then people go around ignoring these situations. Why? Because it hasn't happened to you. If it happened to you, you'd understand right away. And you want the whole world to flip a script and come to your rescue. And yet, because it haven't not happened to you, you can go around with it. You can go around not caring. So the message that I've been bringing to you, ladies and gentlemen, is this. God knows that you've been misled, misguided. And you know that the pains and the consequences of it. But you don't know what to do about it. You just think situations like this reveals to you that you got to get more selfish, that you got to get locked down even deeper. So you can prevent these things from happening to you, or you can deal with these things if they do happen to you. And the whole message that I bring to you is you can't break down, lock down, or prepare enough for what can happen to you on your own. It takes not just the community, it takes humanity to protect you in situations like this. And that humanity is built on the principles of love, built upon the principles of God. We got to, and they put a TV program on television called Lucifer to break it down, to make it more normal. The things that you've been taught about Lucifer, it gives it a little bit less credibility. And you can start thinking, oh, Lucifer is my friend. They just was trying to do this or do that. Now, many people were taught long time ago about Sodom and Gomorrah. Many people were taught that homosexuality or people having affection for people of the same sex was just something that was unthinkable. I was taught that. I saw it all the time. Men have made passes at me. I saw it all the time. But there was something there saying this is wrong. And time has turned around where it's acceptable now. Laws have been passed to say it's okay. Now, if I'm honest to you, with you, and tell you the truth, I do not know if that is ungodly or not. I was taught it was, but in reality, I don't know. They taught that black people were ungodly. They taught that poor white people were ungodly. So I don't know what is the proper way, but I do know one thing. Ungodly or not, as an individual, me and them, I have one course to follow when it comes down to them. To treat them exactly like I want to be treated. That is to make sure that they have access to a career of their own choosing. That they can engage themselves in the creative process of all things that are made at the hands of man, knowing that by doing these things are so entwined and so interacted that all people who have engaged themselves become not only takers of this product, finished product, they are owners of it. They got ownership. Just like buying stock. You get a chance to say, I got ownership in this. This is why you get a fee, a residual, because you got ownership in it. This is the same thing. Now you put the money aside and everybody working, so everybody owns everything that exists. You don't need money to buy it. You access it as you need it, want it, or desire it. Why? Because it's yours. It's there for that purpose. And in that process, ladies and gentlemen, when people are sick, when there are diseases that's coming from nowhere, you got the health professions that's everything is there for them to access, to use it, to deal with it, to work with it, to master and conquer these diseases. And people can still live healthy until their time is out. That's love. That's God's way. Now, we haven't been taught that, but I'm telling you, this is God's way. And there's nothing that Satan, Lucifer, the devil, or any agent of the devil can say that would make anybody speak the truth when they say they are privileged when others are disadvantaged. Well, I think I'll stop there. If you want to benefit from messages like this, you will. And if it stinks, it stinks. Until next time, this is Eddie. Bye-bye.